What's going on, guys? Your boy Mason. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me doing the collaboration tier list ranking for Overlord collab. We're going to be ranking the characters from worst to best for the collaboration, guys. Not that any of them are bad characters, but we're going to be ranking them from least best to best. I guess that's a better way to put it. So if you guys enjoy videos like this, man, definitely make sure to like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Your boy Amazing is on the road to that 40k subscribers, man. So if you guys have not hit that subscribe button already, definitely make sure to. And with that out of the way, let's hop in and discuss the 4 characters that came with the Overlord collaboration and my rankings for how I'd actually rank them in terms of how good they are versus each other. So we do have a tier list pulled up here, guys. Let me switch my display real quick. Alright, so we do have the tier list right here, guys. So we're gonna actually be ranking the characters in the 1, 2, 3, 4 slot, right? 4 being the worst, 1 being the best. I only added these extra little coins here just so that tier list maker would actually let me make the tier list, but this is what it's gonna look like. So what we'll do is we'll start with number 4. So number 4 being Kasus here. We'll start with him, and the main reason why Kasus is a character that I think is going to be he's good, but he's not better than the other characters is because of the way he works. So if you guys don't know how Kasus works, for his passive in PvE, removes all debuffs from allies when the hero uses a skill and inflicts damage, increases allies HP for 8% for every debuff removed for 3 turns, and then limit up to 5 times. So that's good in itself. And then another thing too, which I don't have his Holy Relic at the moment, but for his Holy Relic, it's going to be all stats up by 10% whenever you use a skill, but it does not stack, right? So you just get the 10% all stats and it's available, but it's not going to be stacking on top of that. So yeah, that's pretty much what Kasus does. I mean, his cards are okay, right? He has Amplify for the buffs he's going to be getting, because these buffs from his passive are actual blue buffs for the increased allies HP, which is big. And then he does have Detonate as well, which is pretty good for damage. And then his ultimate is just a basic stat buff, so you know, Assault Melee ultimate. He's a good character, man, and I think he'll definitely have his longevity in like final boss and like guild boss, where like you want to have a ton of stats for like scoring well. So like in something like final boss and guild boss, Kasus might be top of the tier list. Honestly, he might be top of the tier. But if we're talking about overall ranking for the character and how I would rank them, I think Kasus is going to be the weakest of the collaboration. Not that he's a bad character, but I think that, you know, he definitely could have been a little bit better, considering we have another collaboration character just like this, that is Kizuna, that does a little bit more than he does in terms of PvE viability, with the, you know, the attack related stats that she's able to provide. I do think that the 10% all stats though from Kasus is big, because it, you know, it's encompassing everything, right? It's all your stats, but it's only 10%, so it's not a super big, you know, amount of stats that you're going to be getting. So Kasus is going to be my number 4 right there, guys, on the actual tier list. Let's move on and talk about the next character on the tier list, which is going to be it's a toss-up for me. But I'm gonna put Ainz in number 3. Now, the reason why Ainz is going to be number 3, let's actually switch my display here and let's go to Ainz. The reason why Ainz is number 3 is because he's a character that is really good, right? Ainz is a good character in PvP. He mainly is centered for PvP though, so that's one thing, right? For what he does though, increases the hero's basic stats by 10% for every unknown ally participating in battle, which is, you know, really, really good. When an unknown race ally uses a skill on an enemy, the target is inflicted with a death brand, and when the hero inflicts damage on an enemy with 4 death brand effects using a single target attack in PvP, they are afflicted with death sentence, which death sentence is really, really strong because it's going to be a guaranteed kill on the enemy, right? So yeah. And then using a single target in PvP, they'll be afflicted with the death sentence, which activates after 1 turn. So his passive does work in PvE. I think the first part does, but the you know, the single target damage for the death brand and applying the death sentence will not work in PvE. So everything else is work like does work in that sense, right? But yeah, if we actually look at the death brand itself, it's going to decrease damage dealt and all targeted ultimate move final damage in PvP, and the amount decreases based on the ultimate move level. So that's another thing that is a problem for me with Ainz, is that he's really reliant on his dupes on his ultimate. You know, the higher the dupes, the more damage reduction you're gonna get, and I think it caps out at 7%. It's only 2% at the 1 to the 6, so it's not gonna be like a super substantial amount if you have him really low dupe. But you know, other than that, it's still gonna be okay. And then with his Holy Relic, he's gonna increase by basic stats by 3% for each debuff effect on the enemy, and this is for allies, right? This is a ally basic stat buff as well, so you can go up to 15% basic stats. So definitely a good, you know, kind of kit he's got going right there. His Verdict card is going to be more damage for every death brand, and then his other skill is going to be an attack related lower on the enemy, so that, you know, they do a lot less damage to you. So obviously he's going to be more of like a supportive role on the team, and he's good in that role. I just don't think he's going to be better than the other 2 characters we have on the list. But I guess that segues us to the next 2 characters. Let's switch back to the tier list right here. And so for the next two characters right here, guys, we have 2 and 1. I'm just gonna put both the characters and we'll talk about both of them one by one. So let's talk with talk about Shaler first, right? So let me switch over back to Grand Cross here, and we'll talk about Shaler. So the reason why Shaler, in my opinion, is gonna be the number 2 character for this collaboration is because she has a use in PvP where she's kind of gonna be like the unknown assault or Purgatory melee, right? She's gonna have kind of the same build as like Purgatory melee in that, you know, when using her, she's gonna get that attack related up. She kind of works just like you know, Purgatory melee, where when she gets attacked up to 3 times and she gets those HP buffs, she's gonna remove the HP buffs on her started turn if she has 3 at the beginning of her turn, and she's gonna get the 50% attack related stats, but then she's gonna become a little bit of a glass cannon. But you do also get a HP heal as well, which is very, very strong. So if you do kind of get lowered on your HP, you'll just instantly heal it back up, get the attack related up, and then that's when you can deal a ton of damage, right? So yeah, for what she does though, other than that, she's gonna increase her own basic stats for every unknown ally in the battle, which, you know, very, very good. When the hero deals damage or if an ally takes damage from a skill during the enemy's turn, the hero's HP related stats will increase, right? So she's gonna get tankier as she gets hit. And then if there are 3 of this effect at the start of the ally's turn, that's when she gets this berserk effect where she gets the 50% attack related, and then her defense related is a little bit lowered as well. And then she also does have bleed on her AoE skills, which is really good. So it's kind of like you know, Small Wing King. Right, if you look at like Small Wing King's Holy Relic, he has the all target bleed that he applies, which is really, really good. So that's pretty much like the reason why Shaler is number 2 in my opinion. I think she has probably more of a viable option in PvP because she doesn't rely as much on her dupes as like Ainz. I think she's gonna be really good because of that, man, right? Like look at her ultimate right here. She has a all stats increase ultimate. It's gonna only be 5% at 1 to 6, but she's gonna also lifesteal the damage she does as well, which is gonna be big because that coincides with her Holy Relic where it restores allies HP by 30% of the hero's damage dealt to bleeding enemies, which if you're going to be applying the AoE and then you follow up with the ultimate, your whole team's going to get a team-wide heal and be completely healthy, which is very, very good, right? And then on her AoE, she has Infect too, so that means that the enemies cannot, you know, lifesteal anything at all. It's going to restrict recovery related stats. And then the single target here is going to be exploit damage, which is ×2 damage dealt and ×2 crit damage against bleeding targets specifically, which she's going to be able to apply bleed on the enemies very, very easily. It's not going to be a hard thing to do. So that's kind of my main reasoning why Shaler is a little bit better than Ainz. She doesn't rely too much on her ultimate as Ainz does, and I think she's going to have a little bit more of a viable option in PvP on these unknown teams because of the team-wide healing and then also the infect that she's providing as well. I think Ainz is good for what he's doing, right? Because he has the damage reduction and stuff, but because it's so dupe reliant to get like a ton of it, it's not going to be something that I'd recommend for a lot of, you know, general players that are like playing in the collab. But if you have 6/6 Ainz though, you could definitely, you know, put him higher on the tier list for sure. But that's what I think it'll be for that. And then obviously number 1, guys, we know Albedo is the best character from the collaboration. This is a given because of how she actually works. She has everything in her passive, man. Think of like anything you would look for. I think like the only thing is like rank up. She doesn't have that, but she has everything else, right? Look, so applies absolute defense on the hero at the start of the battle for 1 turn. When assuming a stance, the hero's basic stats increase by 20%. She gets 20% basic stats outright. When hit with a skill during the enemy's turn, the hero's attack related stats increase by 10% up to 5 times for 3 turns. So you can get up to 50% attack related stats on top of that, right? And then if the hero does not take damage, all enemies damage taken increases by 40% for 1 turn at the start of the ally's turn. And then in addition, when the hero's stance effect is removed, the attack related stats of all unknown race allies increases by 20%. So she is a buffer for unknown race allies as well, right? She gets the 20% attack related stats. And then the hero's basic stats increase by 7% for every unknown race ally participating in the battle. Same thing that Shaler has. And then for her absolute defense, for what it does, is going to taunt enemies and decrease damage taken by 50%. So across the board, her passive covers everything you'd want. You have really good tanking, you have, you know, supporting the allies, you have attack related stats for more damage for herself. She covers everything, man, which is why Albedo is so strong. And then if we look at her Holy Relic here, she's going to decrease the hero's damage taken by 8% for every buff on the hero. And as she's getting those attack related buffs as she keeps getting hit, the more damage reduction she's going to get, up to 40% damage reduction, and that's big. Alongside the fact you have, you know, the absolute defense on turn 1, which is going to be a 50% damage reduction. If you can get like max passive, right, instantly. Like, let's say you have Nanashi passive, which is already 3 buffs. You get 2 more buffs. You're not taking damage the rest of that turn, right? And even going into the following turn, you're not taking damage because you have 40% damage reduction. So it's going to act as like another absolute defense. So really, really good stuff with just her these 2 things alone. But then when we actually look at her cards, you'll know why she's broken, right? Let's go to her stance skill first, right? Assumes a stance, taunts enemies for 1 turn, inflicting amplified damage equal to 150% of attack via counter when attacked. So she has amplified base counter, and remember that in her passive she's going to be getting a ton of attack related stats every time she gets hit. So she's going to be a character that as she's getting hit, she's going to be attacking the enemy back, she's going to be countering back, and she's going to be dealing a ton of damage. And because of that, Albedo is easily the best character from the collaboration, like, you know, barring nothing. Like, she's just broken, right? She's just insane. And then her first skill here, discard, is just a damage lower on the enemy, which is good because it lowers their damage dealt. And if you can get this rank 3 off, I'm telling you guys, if you've ever seen this rank 3 used on an enemy, they literally will do no damage to you, man. I'm telling you, you drop the rank 3 on someone, and if they live, they will not do damage to you instantly. 80% of their damage dealt, gone. And it's for 2 turns as well, which is very, very strong. And then her ultimate right here, True Hatred, increases the hero's crit chance by 50% and crit damage by 60%, then inflicts quell damage equal to 350% of attack on all enemies, and this is going to be 5% damage dealt per stance effect on self at 1 out of 6, which is not too crazy, but it's still very, very strong, right? She's going to be able to get, because the stance here gives you 2 stance effects, you're going to get 10% extra damage dealt, plus you have the 50% crit chance, plus the 60% crit damage. It's just, you know, all encompassing, guys. Albedo is really, really good, man. And so because of that, guys, this is what my final list of the tier list is going to look like. We have Albedo at number 1, we have Shaltir at number 2, we have Ainz at number 3, and then Kasus at number 4. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. How would you guys rank the characters, or do you guys agree with me? Do you guys think that this is the setup that you would have them in the rankings? Let me know in the comment section below, man. But with that out of the way, guys, that's going to be it. I hope you guys did enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. If you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, man. See you later, guys.